Alright, how's it going? Fantastic, beautiful people of Facebook. This is Jose Trujillo with my Starbucks. Yeah. Alright, well let's do this now. Let's take care of this business. I will show you guys today how I'm going to paint a landscape with a la Trujillo. Okay? I started here without you guys because sometimes I just kind of do that. I start. But it'll be super fun. Don't let this be so mystified because it's intuitive painting. Intuitive painting comes from the heart. It's the only place it can come. Yeah, some stuff helps, stuff that we learn along the way, but it really is a dance between the heart and the hand. So I'm gonna show you a little bit. Hopefully, I get to record some of it before my phone's like it's hot. Turn me off. So here we go. So it's a type also of blocking, some of the stuff that I like to do, but it's not blocking like how you see most painters do it, or not landscape, very formal painters. What is it called? Portrait painting. It's not that much. It's a breed between abstract and some reality, and it is very bold. And it's difficult sometimes to be bold because, as I explained in other videos, one tends to control. So being bold, if you're trying to control, you can't really be bold, or maybe you can, but only in certain areas. Maybe only in if you're trying to control, maybe you can be bold in brush work. You're like, I've seen some artists do stuff like. So you can be bold there, but you still try to calculate it, and that is fine. I'm not trying to say that that's bad. That's just not moi. That's not me. So I try to be moving. If you can see that the movement is really what creates my beloved je ne sais quoi. So I hope how's it going, Marcia? Thank you so much for joining in. So as you see, I tend to hold the brush in like this. And this for me is something that I learned not because someone taught it to me, not because I saw it somewhere. I used to paint like this for many years. I even painted like this, right? But the more I painted, the more I realized I need to be in command of the brush, and it's almost like a wand. So this is just kind of how I do it. It doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Whatever feels comfortable for you, of course. But this is how I do it. And sometimes I get closer to it, but I like to create some sort of distance because that way it's almost like you're conducting something. It's like you're conducting. If I knew something about music, maybe that would be. It's like you're. Okay, just little. It's not serious. It's not serious. Is what I want to tell you. It's not serious. If it starts becoming serious, you're trying to control, and again, you have to get out of your head. And this is something very common. Don't feel bad. This happens to the best of us. So it's just a matter of training yourself to catch yourself to say, oh, okay, well, I'm becoming serious again. I'm becoming very serious. One of the things to check out when you're becoming serious is that you stay too long in one place. I create movement. And movement for me helps me, right, to not stay in one place. The problem of staying, and I see many artists do this, and even, what do you call it, professional artists, I guess. They'll stay in one place And if it works for them, it works for them, right? It doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for many artists that I know. The reason is because you start thinking, and so you start pigeonholing, if that's a word. You start to pigeonhole yourself into an area, and now you start thinking. And the problem, as I mentioned before, the whole problem of this is the thinking. Once you start thinking, like for example, if I'm like here, oh man, oh, you're neglecting the painting as a whole. You're neglecting the whole thing. And the painting is not this area. The painting is the whole thing. So that is one of the reasons I don't like to, and I'm completely against that, of staying in one area. Even if it's an eye, do not stay there. Even if you're doing a portrait painting and you're like, but I gotta get the eye right, doesn't matter, go back to the hair, do something else. Why? Because you will start thinking. And thinking, in my opinion, is the killer of the arts. It's the killer of production. You can't really produce when you're thinking, because now all you're doing is micromanaging. You're like, oh man, is that color the right one? Here, let me try it again. Here, let me mix that. Oh, I got the color wrong again. And that's all we keep doing. We keep repeating that kind of stuff. I do spend a fortune in brushes. That's why I don't buy expensive brushes anymore. Marcia says all this back and forth brush work. How do I not spend a fortune in brushes? But it's true. I do spend a fortune in brushes. My accountant gets a laugh how much I spent on brushes and paint, but it's part of it. It's part of it. Otherwise, how am I going to create artwork? But yeah, that's the way I'd like to do it. It's intuitive. It's almost what would we call this? It's almost abstract. The only reason I don't say it's fully abstract is because it's not fully abstract. I'm not just trying to create abstraction. It's fully just expressing my feelings or it's not that entirely. It's also a bit of some realism, some levels of realism, some levels of impressionist work, and so yeah. It's very peaceful. Once you're in the group, you realize how peaceful it is. When you're not in the groove, it becomes very annoying because you're trying to control it. So it's one way to notice is your feelings. I know it sounds weird and a bit esoteric again, but try to check how you're feeling as you're painting. Try to check how your emotions. Thank you so much, Marlene. Marlene says, love the colors. It's awesome. Thank you guys for joining me. But yeah, try to check how you're feeling. If you're shaking, if there's a shakiness, and I know it sounds, again, it sounds a bit esoteric, it sounds a bit airy-fairy, but trust me on this one, guys. I know a thing or two about this. I know a thing or two. If you feel a bit shaky, a bit unease, unsettled, you are thinking, you are trying to control something. You're perhaps trying to mimic someone or mimic something you did before. Reproduce something. In which case it means that you're trying to set a very strong expectation. And as you've heard me talk, in this painting, I don't know in other ones because I don't paint different. I mean, this is what I paint, right? But in the type of painting that I do, that I've sort of kind of played with and developed, I realized that expectation is very painful, and that's why the looseness allows you to continue to play. It's almost like It's almost like the mind rests for a little bit, and then the heart says, I don't know what cartoon I saw. I went to the movies and I saw a cartoon about that. Someone did. It was kind of like one of those short films about the heart and the mind kind of sinking because the mind, the brain, well, wanted to control the functions and everything in the body, and the heart's like, wait a minute, but you know, I need to have some say in it. And it's not really that they compromise, it's that the mind understood that the heart was supposed to guide the fun, the good stuff about life. So it's just the way that, for me, it's the way that I see it. You know, it can't be something that you're trying to control, because in control you cannot lose yourself. It's only in intuitive work where you can actually lose yourself, and some people render that really well in very abstract pieces. This is not completely abstract, as I mentioned. This is, you know, somewhat in the lines of contemporary impressionist, or some people call it spontaneous realism. Other people call it different stuff. Doesn't matter what people call it. What it is that it allows you to play. The heart once again says, oh, I get this game. This is where we get to have fun. This is where we and be productive. This is where you put away the negativity and because sometimes you could think you're having joy. This is one of the things that used to happen to me as an artist. I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna paint, but I ended up more frustrated. It was the thought of painting that was fun, but once I started painting, I ended up frustrated because nothing ever showed up the way I wanted it to. Again, not because I wasn't good enough. This is what people like to say. You know, it's always because you're not good enough here. You haven't practiced. No. Yeah, there's some part in that, but that is not really even nearly half of the reason, or a quarter of the reason. The reason is because you've set these high expectations, or low whatever the expectation. It doesn't matter. Expectation is always high because you're trying to meet your idea, your brain. You're trying to meet it to that reality, and you're not allowing things to come out the way they're supposed to. The way they're supposed to is without expressionism. Yeah, that's a good one too. Thank you, Marlene. So let me show you a little bit of what I've done here. This is how I know when I'm playing. When I'm not playing, I'm very organized. I'm very serious. There's no movement. There's no mess. It's very, very, very serious. And when I know I'm playing, I get to be me. So this is what I did today, guys. I hope you liked it. I'm very inspired by the monsoon. We're waiting for some water here in Tucson, Arizona. Hopefully we'll get some soon. And as you can see, I crave some of those fluffy clouds. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. And I will talk to you guys soon again with another awesome video. By the way, this is a 16 by 20 inches canvas, stretch canvas. And pretty cool. All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.